Franz Liszt inspired a wave of virtuoso piano artistry during the 19th century Romantic period of music. He introduced superhuman technique, becoming the world's first international star pianist, changing everything about the way piano was performed and heard. His enormous influence, popularity, and philanthropy left a legacy of unparalleled musical achievement and leadership worldwide. Ah! A huge crowd! If you know me, you know that I prefer more small, intimate settings, not concert halls. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Frederick Chopin, a Polish composer. You might not know me, but you've certainly heard of my friend Franz Liszt, the acclaimed Hungarian composer. We met in 1832 and became very good friends. We inspire each other very much, but I must admit he is more famous than I. Born on October 22nd, 1811, Liszt was claimed a child prodigy at age 6. His father, Adam Liszt, was an accomplished cellist in the Esterhazy Court Orchestra under Beethoven and Haydn. Liszt gave his first performance at age 9, and at age 14 he wrote the operetta Don Sancho. Father and son toured England 3 times in 3 years, from 1824 to 1827. Liszt met wonderful teachers such as Salieri and Czerny, and also met Schubert, who encouraged his success. Franz is endowed with the ability to capture an audience's attention the second he sits down at the piano. Although he is a little bit over the top, I must say. A vulgar display of emotions, but his technique is still stunning. He also redefined performance. It wasn't a combination of musicians, dancers, fire breathers, and jugglers anymore. It was a solo performance, all focused on one person. This had been a problem before Liszt, as a regular pianist hadn't been able to capture an audience's attention, but Liszt sure could. He gave his first performance at 1839, which exploded beyond expectation. One concertgoer said that Liszt performed marvels of power, precision, and of the soul. We have heard nothing better. Not everyone loves Franz Liszt. Some critics say that Liszt pays women to swoon over his playing, and if they do not swoon at his cue, then Liszt would faint himself. Generally, I am not the performing type. I'm much more reserved. Liszt heard one of my very rare performances and called my playing boring and indicative. We are at times adversaries, but we respect and admire each other very much. I can only be so envious, as he was a tremendous help in my home. He gave me financial aid while I was in exile from Poland, and greatly supports Polish as well as Hungarian nationalism. These countries have been in turmoil for decades, and currently still are. Liszt is writing a set of 19 challenging Hungarian rhapsodies, as these rhapsodies derived from folk themes are exquisite examples of his national pride. The one thing that I remember most about him is no matter where he went or what he did, he always had a sense of fire in his blood, and he risked success for creativity, leaving convention behind. Hello, my pupils. Welcome to my house. I am, of course, Franz Liszt, your new teacher. Now, before we jump right into lessons, I would like to share a little bit of... No! No payment, please. Pay me with your passion. Let me tell you how I found mine. My childhood, as I recall, had not really begun until I started learning piano. My father taught me at first, and I learned very quickly. By the time I was 11, I do recall I played for the beloved Beethoven, who proceeded to kiss me on the head and bless me. Serious study then began with Carl Czerny, and I blossomed. It was not going very well, to the turning point I could never forget. 1827, when my father died. I sunk into despair and became very religious for a number of years, and seriously considered entering the priesthood. I currently still am religious, as you can see. I wear the choir robe nearly every day now. I continue to deepen my practice, and in the late 1830s, when I came out of my shell again, it was the students, the piano, and God that saved me. I had new pieces perfected and composed from the deep emotions that I felt, and everyone loved them. Remember, students, sorrowful and great is the artist's destiny. These great years are up through 1847 were my ultimate virtuoso years. The women would tear parts of my clothing off and sell them for high amounts of money, and also steal my cigarettes. My cigarettes! They still haven't paid me back for those. Oh well. I have enough money flowing in my direction that sometimes I just give it away. His craze for me was like a disease. Listomania, they called it. Perhaps it was my dramatic flair, coupled with the grand contrasts in my music that made audiences go wild. Here, you be the judge as I play an excerpt from my Faust waltz. Listen very closely for the contrasts, as Cybele becomes angry after seeing his Lady Marguerite charmed by Faust. Whether for playing for the Queen of England, or a hospital in Paris, or even an insane asylum in Ireland, I approached the piano to release my feelings. I forced the pianist to go further as I composed some of my newer works, including the glissandos of my Faust waltz. Before me, the pianos were made for generally quiet pieces, such as those Haydn composed. I have been known to accidentally, but surely crush the pianos under the weakness of under my touch with their very brittle wood frame. You could say that I forced the piano engineers to construct a more durable instrument. Therefore, they added a steel frame, making it much more durable and resonant, making it more clear to the ear and to the hand. Now remember, students, mechanics are secondary to interpretation, and, theatrically, we play to tell a story. Students, what will your story be? I remember that day, decades ago, on June 3rd, 1885, when I first met Franz Liszt during one of his many masterclasses in Weimar, Germany. Even at 74, he was still stunning, and with a charisma like his, he was always able to win over all the ladies. All the ladies. I wish I had that charm. But yes, he was a musical genius, the inventor of the symphonic poem, actually composing 12 of them, including a staggering number of other pieces, including his etudes, Hungarian rhapsodies, symphonies, concertos, and his famous last work, the popular sonata in B minor. Over 1,400 in all, and he could sight read any piece with perfect intonation. I do recall him sight reading Grieg's newly composed piano concerto, impeccably, playing both the solo and orchestral parts simultaneously, while having a conversation with Grieg and smoking a cigar in one hand. He was a great teacher, intense, passionate, and never even charged a penny. Using very strong analogies to get his point across, he once told me, "Your last movement should be more ethereal, but it sounds as if it had boots on, and the basses are too heavy for my taste." And he was right. It'd be an honor to shake his hand once more. Speaking of hands, he had an incredibly large reach, perfect for Liszt to play octaves with. He was also a very strict teacher, and at times would lapse into a fury, though this isn't very surprising, considering his three favorite books were the breviary Dante's Inferno and Goethe's Faust, which is a story of demonic possession. Despite his pessimistic mindset, he was one of the most philanthropic men I've ever met, and believed in genie oblige, his motto, which means genius carries obligations, or obligations to help those in need. His caring nature left a humanitarian legacy. For example, he donated 85% of the funds needed to complete the Beethoven Monument in Bonn, Germany, and also donated to the homeless after the Great Fire of Hamburg in 1845. He also founded his own music school, the Royal Academy of Music in Budapest, and the free concerts he gave are too many to count. Even though he was a man made of gold, he died in poverty due to his overt generosity and after an unfortunate chain of events, including him falling down a flight of stairs, contracting pneumonia, and a fatal heart attack on July 31st, 1886. He died in a shoddy deathbed in Beirut, Hungary. But a superstar never truly dies. His legacy lives on. He founded a completely new generation of virtuoso pianists. And his enormous influence, popularity, and philanthropy left a legacy of unparalleled musical achievement and leadership worldwide. Near the end of his life, I heard him experimenting with unfamiliar harmonies. Atonal music, he called it. It's only the 1920s, but composers such as Stravinsky are already using his techniques in a new direction. Such as Liszt's Life, with a great beginning comes a great ending.